All right.
This
Good evening,
page is
folks.
not working at all.
Time being 6:35, I'd like to start the Master Plan Committee, tonight's agenda, November 8th, 2023. Meetings will be held in the Municipal Building, 3rd floor, Training Room, 355 East Central Street. A note to residents, all citizens are welcome to attend public board and committee meetings in person. The meetings will also be live streamed by Franklin TV and shown on Comcast Channel 11 and Verizon Channel 29. Recordings of meetings are available on Franklin TV's Franklin Town Hall TV YouTube channel. And additionally, in an effort to maximize citizens' engagement opportunities, citizens will be able to continue to participate remotely via phone or Zoom. The link to access to tonight's meeting is posted on the agenda. You can copy the URL into your browser, or call-in phone number is 1-929-205-6099 and enter ID 895-0899-2751 and then press the pound symbol. So once again, that call-in number is 1-929-205-6099 and then enter the meeting ID number 895-0899-2751 and then press pound. All right, so we got a really interesting agenda tonight, a lot on our plate coming up for the holiday season. The first thing on our agenda for tonight are meeting minutes. And we'll need we don't have any meeting
No.
minutes from last
They'll-
month, so
Oh, yeah, Mr.
So-
Chairman will be on the next meeting.
nothing to approve for tonight. So next is subcommittee updates. I'll go to Kobe for your awesome bike ride.
Yeah. So I sent everyone a little update on what we're doing. So we're starting to plan out our topic-based meetings, and excited to receive the data before we start those and then schedule them out. But we did get really launched off with our bike tour this Sunday, which worked out fantastic. All 4 committee members were there. We had a few other people join us, and what really put it over the top is we were joined by the best local TV studio. Pete and a cameraman came out and recorded the whole thing, so everyone's going to be able to learn along with everything that we learned. But we had a lot of face-to-face time with schools, police, fire, library, DPW, and got to see some of the facilities ourselves, and it really worked out well. So as soon as that's edited, which it's 4.5 hours of footage, so it might take some time, but we'll share that around and make sure that you guys can follow along if you weren't able to join.
Wow.
Nice.
4.5. Any updates on when your next committee meeting will be?
Next committee meeting, I believe, is the 20th.
Okay.
We meet before the large committee.
Okay.
So,
So you're gonna be in the next meeting, next full meeting prior
next
to.
full meeting,
Okay.
yeah, which I believe is the
29th is our next
Top
meeting.
line said it was the 29th.
29th.
Perfect. Anything else?
That's it.
All right. Gino, over to you for sustainability, sir.
We haven't met since the last meeting. We have our next meeting scheduled for December 4th. We're looking forward to receiving the information tonight. And I just also would like to acknowledge that, for those who don't know, today, November 8th, is annual World Town Planning Day. So it's appropriate to be meeting here tonight.
Yes. Very, very appropriate.
Appreciate your town planner.
Thank you for that, Gino.
Who's doing it there today?
That's awesome. Janelle, land use and zoning.
All right, so we did meet on October 30th, and we talked through and brainstormed on all of the efforts that are maybe ongoing or in progress that the town is taking on related to land use and zoning, and really we're looking forward to getting sort of like all the data we're getting tonight. I know I've been peppering you with questions about things that are in progress. And we are looking ahead to an upcoming meeting to be able to meet with Amy and Brian to talk through that with our questions that might come into this data. But we've developed a little bit of that at that last meeting. And then one of the things, it was touched on in our subcommittee meeting, but also in the community services facilities, and circulation meeting, is just a suggestion for, how we may, as a broader committee, gather information from the other efforts that the town is taking, like the Davis Thayer reuse and the school facility assessment and the police station one, right? So if there's other committees working on these things, but they will inform what this master plan committee does, just something to think about as a broader group, rather than every subcommittee try to reach out and.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we can always request, like, for instance, I can reach out to the chair of the Davis Thayer Reuse Committee, Debbie Pellegrini, and maybe she can come and give us some feedback as to what some of their committees currently working on and what their plans are,
Yeah.
as well as the others. So, and you have a date for your next meeting?
Monday,
This Monday,
yes.
coming up. Very good. That leaves us with Ken Elmore from, are you in Paris, sir?
I am in Paris, yes
Wow.
indeed.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Just an
We
update on
are, I've still got to make sure that we get a committee meeting or two engaged, so not quite there yet.
All right, understood, sir. Thank you, and enjoy France. It sounds like a lot of fun. Megan's not here, but she said she may be chiming in sometime around 7. So if she does take an opportunity to chime in, we'll ask her for an update on the Open Space and Recreation Subcommittee. Until then, let's move on to our next agenda, because we have a lot of information to go over tonight. We have an update for existing conditions and inventory from Beta and Barrett tonight on our agenda. And I think, Amy, I'll pass it over to you first, just as kind of a summary, and then lead into Beta and Barrett, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. They have a draft document that will be submitted to this committee next week. Just getting final look over on the document. They're going to do a presentation tonight that will kind of go over some of the facts that are part of this. We're hoping, it's a very long document, but they really will need feedback from this entire committee. We're hoping at one of the December meetings we could hold the whole meeting on comments to that document, because then from there they can move on to the next steps in the master plan. It's a lot. If this committee doesn't think they have enough time, we can talk about that. But we're hoping if we get it to you by next week. We were talking about, I think it's December 13th.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, December 13th.
That we meet, that we were kind of hoping to dedicate that meeting to feedback on the document. So from there,
So, hold on one second. So folks, I know it's the holidays, and there's a lot going on. It just so turns out that much of the information from Beta and Barrett is coming this close to the holidays. Does everyone feel comfortable? That gives us roughly 5 weeks to kind of digest this information and come up with any questions and feedback we have from tonight's presentation. Everyone feel, just want to get a general consensus. Everyone feel comfortable with that?
You're moving into when? What meeting?
I'm sorry?
Moving into what meeting?
Well, we're just, the next meeting, the 13th, when we'll be providing whatever feedback on the data we're gonna receive tonight, so that they can move forward with it. All right, okay.
yeah, so I'd just say for next week, look at your emails. I'll be sending it out via email. If someone did want a hard copy of it, please let me know and we can get it printed for you. Take a couple days, but we can provide a hard copy as well. So just keep your eyes open for next week. I don't have an exact date, but it will be coming in your email next week.
Okay. Might as well ask right now, does anyone have any desire to get a hard copy of
You had one done by Friday?
the document?
I won't get the document until next week, but by next Friday, if I get it in time, I could.
So, I want one, but I just thought it was something you could have by the week.
Not this weekend, but by, hopefully by next weekend. Would that work?
No.
Okay.
I think he's leaving. You want a hard copy, Joe?
Yes, please.
All right. Ken, would you like a hard copy, or were you okay with electronic?
Electronic be fine.
Okay.
If I can print some pieces of it, that would be great, but I can do that from the electronic copy.
Okay, great, thank you. With that, why don't we take it over? No, I'm sorry, Janelle.
So we're getting the document next week. We're seeing a preview of it now?
You're seeing
Or-
a presentation, a kind of an
Okay.
overview tonight
Okay.
of what to expect.
So our agenda for Monday's land use meeting,
We might as well skip it.
yeah, we might skip that meeting because our agenda for that was gonna be to like bring initial comments as a group and,
It's kind of tough without the document,
right,
right?
okay,
Are you gonna just send me an email if you're gonna cancel the meeting,
okay,
and I can take it off tomorrow.
okay,
Yeah, sorry about the timing,
it's okay.
folks.
We thought we were getting the
I thought so too.
information today.
I didn't know this was just a presentation. Amy, actually, I should say, why wouldn't they be able to provide that full document by the end of the week?
So I had met with them on Monday. We always do a check-in every
Yeah.
couple of weeks that they had the final document, but it just needed to have a final look over before they provide it to the committee to make sure that everything in it is what they expect it to be and what the information is. So they're just running a little bit behind.
Okay, understood. It is the holidays. All right, with that, let's go over to Jill Slankus from Barrett. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Amy, please let me know if you wanted to share the slides or if I can do so as a co-host.
I'll make you co-host.
Terrific. And thanks to the committee for giving us a few extra days. When we bring these documents together, we have to go through and just make sure they're formatted. It'll be pretty easy on the eyes, but in terms of the formatting, the numbering and so forth, we just wanted to have it as best as possible. And of course, I'm sure there's a thing or two in there that you'll catch. So thank you for the grace of a few extra days, and we look forward to your feedback on it in the upcoming weeks. Okay. Okay. Can you see that?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. Okay, there we are. Okay. Can you see that now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. Terrific. Thank you. So tonight we're going to go over the kind of the highlights and the overview of the existing conditions, which is also called the inventory and assessment. I'm going to start by we always like to start at the master plan committee meetings as often as we can with a project timeline. I know the committee has been on board from the beginning and has an idea of where we're going, but this just shows us where we are, what we've done, and kind of what the next steps are coming. So I know there's a survey being launched soon, and the input from that will be incorporated into the final version of the inventory and assessment. I know you guys have been working hard on your subcommittee meetings and doing some outreach throughout town. And we've done interviews and research documents, data collection. And so we've compiled what you'll get next week and kind of just the bullet points of each chapter that we'll present tonight. So Jeff Max Tudis from Beta is kind of just gonna, again, kind of go over what the draft existing conditions report, what work went into it, what its purpose is, and we'll take it from there. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you, Jill. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
So here's you can see that there's the 8 elements of a comprehensive plan. And so those are divided into each chapter. So when Jill said we're reviewing, we have to check for consistency between the chapters. And there's plenty of things to check for, but things like, mapping. And at the end of the process, there'll be tie-ins when we look at goals and strategies between all these and kind of overarching themes between all these elements. So, but this gives you this is really the framework and the base conditions of where we are today. And, you know, to get where we're going to go to, we have to know where we're at. So this is, you know, a compilation of all the information and data we've collected to date. And like Jill said, we did a lot of interviews with department heads and town staff. We looked at, you know, published data, you know, things like U.S. Census data and a lot more. Previous reports and studies, website information. So it's pretty data rich. You know, when you look at, I wouldn't suggest reading all the chapters at once. You know, maybe you know, one a day every few days. But you know, it's a lot of data. We're not gonna, you know everything as well as you on all these elements. But you know, looking for you to tell us if we missed something or got something wrong. Kind of dot the I's and, you know, cross the T's. And, you know, this is the inventory existing conditions. It's a required piece, you know, for the state, you know, master planning guidelines, but it's not the most important piece in the sense that when you look at this, you know, we shouldn't be looking at it as just a sense of, you know, a set of data, and it has to be in there, but, you know, what you should take out of it is what are the important pieces, issues, and opportunities that when we go forward and try to come up with, you know, actions and strategies and goals, what's important to come out of existing conditions. And I guess if I had to say overall, you know, I think we were pretty pleasantly surprised at the condition of a lot of the, you know, these elements and the town's departments and operations. So. Not every town is like that, I can assure you. So that was refreshing for us. But you know, there's a lot in there, and so we're looking for your feedback. So we have some slides just to give you kind of a sense, a slice of what's in each report. And if something's not in there in these slides, don't worry, because it's just a very brief summary, kind of a snapshot, and all the other information will be in the you know, in the chapters. So, you know, if we don't touch on it tonight, and it's just to give you a very brief, you know, snapshot of what the chapters will be speaking to.
Thank you, Jeff. And that's a good point. Because as you go, we kind of asked everybody who was working on the elements on our team to put the kind of the three main things or top things that they've come across on the slides. They're not necessarily ranked, but we kind of, again, just to give an overview, we couldn't cover it all. It's about 175 pages, the actual document. So this is just an overview. Okay. So economic development, the town definitely aims to provide a pro-business environment is what we've gathered. There's a low single tax rate, economic incentives for businesses such as priority development sites, economic opportunity areas. Franklin is a growth community that encourages businesses to grow with streamlined permitting processes, ample industrial land, priority development sites, economic opportunity areas, modernized infrastructure, excellent municipal services, well-educated workforce, diverse housing opportunities, and a great quality of life. The town has implemented and continues to work on the recommendations presented in the recent Metropolitan Area Planning Council market study from 2020 and the Franklin for All rezoning project. For housing, the town is working to allow for more higher density residences, including multi-purpose residency and businesses. Of the estimated 2,289 acres of residentially zoned land remaining available for residential development, the average undeveloped lot size is 2.5 acres, and approximately 45% of the lots are less than a half acre in size. According to a study by the Department of Planning and Community Development, there were 117 parcels of land, a little over 1,800 acres, that are 5 or more acres in size that remain developable. There's been a continuous increase of the number of available affording housing units through grant funding and incentives. And in discussions, in our interviews, we heard, more than once that there was interest and a need for intermediate housing. Land use. Okay, residential land uses dominate Franklin's landscape, coming in at a little over 45% of the land. Single family, the next largest category is public land, federal, state, and municipal facilities and structures at about 11%, and over 80% of the town is zoned for residential use. Roughly 6.5% of Franklin's privately owned land area remains vacant, and according to the assessor's office, about half of that 6.5% is considered developable and the other half is considered undevelopable. Since the last master plan, there have been numerous zoning amendments focused on attracting businesses, increasing density, and allowing for mixed-use development. For natural, cultural, and historic resources, Franklin, has an abundance of natural and cultural and historic resources. The town aims to continue to preserve and maintain those. The town, as you know, has a rich history, though gaps remain. There's a lack of information about some of the indigenous history, and there seemed to be an interest in building heritage tourism at some of the sites, if that information can be developed and implemented. There's also another idea was to explore additional strategies to protect historic properties. The Franklin Cultural District is a treasure established in June of 2017, and we gathered that there was a strong interest in continuing strategic planning for the arts, culture, and history. Open space and recreation. The town has approximately 2,000 acres reserved for conservation and recreation. Out of this land, approximately 1,100 acres are designated as protected conservation and open space areas. The open space and recreation plan includes goals, objectives, and actions that would increase the connectivity to and between Franklin's recreation areas, conservation areas, and open space, including safe walking and bicycle linkages through the creation of a cohesive emerald necklace, linking and promoting access to the town's open spaces and conservation areas. Connectivity and access improvements should place a particular emphasis on improved access for the elderly, persons with disabilities, and families with young children. In addition, Franklin has cluster or open space development bylaws, and these bylaws retain the same density as existing zoning would permit, but allow the lots to be reduced in size and located on only a portion of a developable parcel in order that the remainder of the parcel can be dedicated as conservation land. And this policy has resulted in the preservation of hundreds of acres of conservation lands in Franklin. In 2020, Franklin adopted the Community Preservation Act to safeguard Maple Hill Conservation Area and Schmitz Farm from future development, preserving their natural beauty. And in a short time, it seems as if a fair bit has been underway with the CPA program.
Yeah, I'll take over now. Thank you, Jill. So public facilities and community service, this is a large element. It's data rich, includes all services, facilities in town buildings. There's discussion of rehabilitation or expanding, police station and repurposing of the, closed Davis Thayer School building. There was some discussion of some departments may need additional space when the town hall, gets rehabilitated. Departments such as health and technology may have increased staff, so that'd be something to consider. Emergency services appear like they're in excellent shape. In fact, the fire department is ISO 1 rating, one of 450 fire departments in the country, so it's quite impressive. There's some discussion of need for an additional fire station because of long response times to the northern part of town, and maybe also a training facility. There's some great sustainable technology I'll talk about in a minute. And probably the largest project going on DPW will be rehabilitation, replacement of the Beaver Street Interceptor sewage line, which is 2.3 miles long. It's really the largest infrastructure piece in the sewer system in the town. Next slide. So circulation, transportation, safety is always at the forefront of transportation. We look at multi-modes, traffic, pedestrians, bikes, transit. But there's some high crash rates in town, particularly along Route 140 and high congestion in that area. That roadway is under MassDOT jurisdiction, which there's some regulations according to that, which if it's not under town regulation. But there could be measures to identify improvements for both safety and congestion and mobility in that corridor. The town's undertaken a lot of pedestrian bicycle improvements over the last few years. Brutus, his department, does a great job, including complete streets projects in the area. And so, these are things like, improving pedestrian safety and crosswalks and shortening distances and bicycle paths. So, and looks like, the town is going to continue to do that in the future, including the southern New England trunk line, expanding that to downtown. And Grove Street is an example where the shared use path was constructed for one phase and will be expanded, in the next few years. And the town has a great pavement management program, and like to continue funding that program so to maintain the high qualities of roadways, and then maybe look expanding that to sidewalks in the future also. Next slide, please. Yeah, sustainability. Actually, the town has done a lot. Sustainability and resiliency, is over the last 5 years, it's become an element or part of an element of a lot of community master plans. But the town was designated as a green community in 2017, and looks toward working towards a lot of those measures and goals. There's actually a lot of programs and plans that the Franklin has developed, municipal vulnerability programs, MVP program through the state, and hazard mitigation program. There's others, the energy reduction plan in 2017, the Franklin Community Choice Power Supply Program was another one, and there's 35 solar arrays located through town, and a lot of electricity from town buildings comes from solar generation, which is great. And then with most things, identifying, additional funding for expanding, sustainable programs in the future will be a critical element. And that's a quick summary of our 8 elements.
Wow, that certainly covered a lot of detail in a short period of time. I'm looking forward to seeing the whole document. You said it was about approximately 175 pages long?
Yes, and that includes tables, figures, maps.
Okay. And I hate to ask this, but how soon do you think you can get that to us?
Not before Monday.
Okay, understood. We're just trying to work around setting up subcommittees and stuff like that too.
Mhm.
Okay. So this is the question session. Does anybody? I'm gonna start with Joe and work my way around for a series of questions. Okay, Joe.
Specific questions
Mhm.
on how this
In
was designed?
in
or-
regards to anything that they covered in this. in the
Okay,
presentation.
you had mentioned 1,808 acres of vacant land.
Mhm.
Was anything accounted, was that residential only, commercial, industrial? How did that break down?
Lily, if you know, chime in. That was in the house.
Housing. Some housing.
Yeah. Okay, that was the 1,800 was the 117 residential parcels
Okay.
that remain developable.
Okay, now, and so all the wetlands were counted in on that?
So no, probably not. There might be wetlands on those lands. For example, two of the lands were I might be saying this wrong. The Cistercian Nuns of Mount St. Mary's, they own a little over 500 acres, and another is Dean College with 90 acres. So that 600 acres would reduce the number to about 1,200, and 5 or more. So we could look into that. That's stuff that we can, drill down into, but I don't have that readily available right now.
Okay, because I'm just thinking of developable land to me means something that can put a shovel in the ground. And if half of this might be wet or within buffer zones, it really chops that acreage right down.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks.
Bruce?
Yeah, do we have any idea in your report about how many single-family homes there are in the town of Franklin? How many multifamily homes there are?
Yes, that's in the report.
Okay, because that's kind of what some of us were looking for.
Okay.
What's that? Gino?
You said there were 35 solar arrays in Franklin. That couldn't possibly include residential housing.
Yeah, what constitutes?
Yeah, what's the definition of the array that's in that number?
Yeah, that doesn't include, that's right, doesn't include private. Yeah, I'll have to get you the statistics on that, so I'm not sure if I could find that right now, but I could get back to you on that.
Okay, thank you. That's
Anything
all.
else, Gina? Mel?
No, nothing at this
Cool.
time.
Just a few questions on, thank you for this, I look forward to seeing the data. Do we have comparisons for any of this? I think of comparisons for, some of the land use numbers around, percent that we dedicate towards certain uses. Are you able to provide any of that, or is any of that in the report?
In comparisons, you mean with surrounding or like towns?
Yeah, surrounding or like towns, yeah, like here.
Yes.
80%
We have
is
done-
residential or something, is that typical of a town like ours?
We did a lot of comparisons in different chapters using data that the planning department gave us a set of towns to use for the comparison. So we have in a number of chapters those comparisons. And the specific one that you're mentioning, though, I'm not sure.
Okay, that was an example.
Mhm.
The crash, is crash data in the report? That's part of it?
Yeah. So there's quite a bit on crashes, and that is a comparison that's provided with state averages. So one is just the number of crashes, and then the severity of crashes, injury or fatalities, and then vulnerable users such as pedestrians and bikes, and then there's it's called a highway safety improvement program. It's kind of a high crash location for the region, so that's in there also. So it's a comparison against other communities and statewide averages.
Perfect, thank you. And then the additional space needs for health and tech, is there gonna be data behind that, or is that more just through conversation?
That was more qualitative. What might be your future needs. We asked people, look toward the future. What do you see? And that was probably one of the questions we asked. So it's not quantitative, but that's something we can drill down on in the future.
Okay, well, I very much look forward to getting into the data and having a bunch more questions. Thank you.
Erin?
Mine was actually just in connection to Kobe's there. The crash rates, will they be kind of split up by location, like thinking about our circulation portion of our subcommittee, like really knowing the specific spots where we're having more problems would be really helpful.
Yeah, we identify what we call high crash locations. So those,
Okay.
yeah, those are identified in the report.
Awesome,
You
okay.
might just simplify things by writing Dunkin' Donuts next to it.
It's true.
So, anything else there?
No, that's it.
Yeah, two quick questions. One, on the information you had on solar, did you, is there information in there about the type of solar? Is it ground mounted? Is it building mounted? Canopy structures, the size of the arrays, whether they're community solar or not? Any sort of detail in there about that?
We have detail. I'm looking at the chapter right now. I mean, it talks about the, the kilowatt, power, some of the locations. I'm not sure if it talks about the type, how it's, well, there is, no, I take that back. There is some discussion of ground-mounted solar arrays, ground and roof-mounted solar arrays. So yeah, there is information there.
Great, thanks. And then the second question I have is, you made a comment about indigenous culture in town and interest towards knowing more about that. I was wondering if you could just expand on that, on where that came up from, and going into that.
Good question.
Yes, I think that came up in more than one conversation. It was something that maybe was relevant to the open space and recreation plan. I think Franklin, maybe 6 different tribes have some connection to Franklin. And it came up in terms of the build heritage tourism, in the thinking of maybe at Riverbend or somewhere in town, if there's a known connection, it'd be nice to highlight the history of the people who may have been in that area, what they did for a living, or what the connection was to agriculture. I'm not exactly sure, but it definitely seemed like something of interest and of history to Franklin, but maybe not enough information to produce something on it. But it was maybe a desire that if this is part of Franklin's history, how can that be incorporated into it was in relation to some of the open space areas.
Great, thanks so much. Yeah, I'd really encourage the group to, as we're looking to collect feedback from community members, to also look at having outreach to the tribes to get some of that detail to help inform our future here.
Yeah, very good. You beat me to it. That was my question. Rick?
Spinning off of Aaron's question about the traffic issues.
Come, Rick, just do me a favor, talking to the microphone.
Sorry.
Yep. That's okay.
I'd be looking for more data on what type of incidents that are considered traffic crashes. Are they more in congested areas like downtown or on 140, or are they on more the open dragway kind of spots, high speed, more collisions? And depending on that data, are they how much of them have severe injuries versus minor injuries that people just can drive away, walk away, whatever? Just a little more detail on that.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of detail on that. Usually it's broken down into severe injuries, so or fatalities, and then we have information on the types of crashes. In the report itself, we have the high crash locations, and a lot of those are at intersections. A lot are on Route 140 itself, but some aren't. But if there's other locations that don't pop up, sometimes we have locations that the data doesn't represent. So say you have like a lot of near misses somewhere, but it's not necessarily a lot of crashes, but just because you drive around town and walk around town, this is an unsafe condition. We'd like to know about that, but we can't quantify that based on the data we get from the state. So we'd like to hear if there's other locations that should be grouped as, a potential hazard location that the data doesn't represent.
Thank you.
All set?
Yeah.
Michelle?
Related to circulation, beyond just the traffic crashes, did you gather any data related to just counts? Whether that's vehicular counts or bike counts or pedestrian counts?
Yeah, so we obtained whatever we can find, mostly for traffic volumes, both average daily traffic and peak hour traffic. So you got that from various studies, MassDOT, traffic volume website, and so forth. So there is data there. In terms of pedestrians, not so much. If we miss something or we have a good source, we would gladly accept that. So, and then, obviously there's locations downtown near the college where there's more high pedestrian crossings. So that'd be more qualitative type information.
And then nothing about bikes either?
We have a bicycle and pedestrian section, but we don't have much on volumes, for those sections. We just don't. They have the facilities themselves and the connections and what type of facility, but we don't have much on volumes. We didn't collect any new data ourselves, and that's typical for a master plan. We obtain whatever's available.
Right.
We just don't have the budget to collect new data, collection counts for the chapter.
Okay. And then I had another question about, did you take the 2013 master plan as an existing condition? And we did the update in 2020, but did you look at the goals and objectives and what has been met and, what's still in progress, and or it was
Did you do it?
striked?
Right, did you,
Because
in
it
other words, did
wasn't
you
relevant.
do an objective overview?
Yeah.
Of the?
So we know where we're starting from, based on updating that master plan.
Yes, I think most of the chapters acknowledge the 2013 master plan and things that have been accomplished since then, but that's something that we can make sure we have that tightened up on, especially with your knowledge for the subcommittees that have been going over that. Then further on, after the existing conditions report, we get into key issues and opportunities, as Jeff mentioned earlier, and then shaping goals and strategies and that will guide the implementation plan. So this is all kind of leading up to that. Mm-hmm. So important, to acknowledge what's been done. So I think a lot of the chapters captured, if not all, things that have been done. But if we have missed something, either to a small extent or big extent, please let us know. We can take a look at that also before we get it to you. But it won't hold up the process.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Nope. All right. Ken, over to you, sir. If you have any questions.
You fell asleep.
Rightly so.
I know it is late. Ken O'More, if you have any questions, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I got an additional question.
Okay. Hold on. Just
just-
want to acknowledge.
Was
See if I can
Route
help you.
495 included in these traffic studies?
It is,
Okay,
yes.
so the traffic on 495 is added in with everything else?
Yeah, there's traffic volumes and crash data, presented for 495. Acknowledging it's, obviously under Mass DOT jurisdiction.
Thank you.
Just one quick
Joe?
one, which was kind of my pet peeve from the beginning when we started our first plans, and I had asked Beta if they could look into it. As far as housing, affordability housing, the hidden secret is we're at 11.5%, 12%. Now I'm hearing we're down really to about 10.5, 10.8. Was anything done to figure out what percentage of affordability housing that we offer in Franklin right now? What that true number is?
Jill? Or
Yeah, is it for the affordable housing?
yes.
Correct.
Okay. I have this little blip here, and the chapter may have more, but it says, since the town's 2011 Affordable Housing Strategy and Development Action Plan, the subsidized housing inventory, the SHI, has increased from 10.4% to 12%. And that Franklin works with the Housing Choice Initiative, which creates incentives, rewards, technical assistance, to encourage and empower municipalities to plan and build the diverse housing stock to continue to thrive.
Did you say that was 2011's?
No. Since 2011, Franklin is, so I have that they are at 12%. They are at 12%.
Our current is 12%?
I don't think.
That's what I have, but I could be wrong.
8.86 last time.
I just wanted a real figure, because no one seems to really have the right.
Yeah, that's definitely something.
So I have as of December 21, 2020, 12%.
Oh, yes, all right,
Yeah,
that makes,
20.
that's
That's before
2020.
the 2020 census.
That was before the
numbers.
census.
Yeah,
So it's 3 years old,
it is. That date is 3 years old, yeah.
so the number could not be accurate.
It's fair, it's not.
Went from 2020.
It seems very gettable.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
It just
Let's
seems
go.
like a number that we can, that there just is a right answer,
It is.
and we can find that.
We should be able to.
Yeah, try. We'll delegate you to do it.
Yeah.
Try
Yeah,
it.
no,
The assessors
If you
don't
wanna
have
spend me
any
to
idea.
look at the, pay me to look at the map for a long time, but,
Just out of curiosity, based on your response, Jill, on the 2020 information with the 12%, where did you gather that information from? Was that through the development and planning department, or who was that, who made that information available? I'd be curious to ask the town administrator about that number myself.
yeah, do you have a sense of what you think the number is?
Well, we have a sneaky suspicion it's not as high as 12, especially since the census has come up.
There was something we posted a couple of weeks ago, it was 10.86.
Yeah, either
I'm not even sure that that
10
number's right.
10.86 or
Yeah.
10.6
Okay.
right now,
Brian
so,
might know.
yeah.
better.
If we could get
end of 2020
some
aligns with the
clarification on that, Amy?
production plan.
I know that we get mailed the SHI numbers every year, and the last one that we received, we were 11.8, and that's where we've been. We have not received, as far as I know, to my department, any numbers showing that we are lower than 11.8%. So if there's numbers out there, they haven't been submitted to my department. I don't know if any other departments have gotten them. I can't speak for other departments. I haven't seen any further data on it, but we are still seeing that we are at 11.8%.
But you as a department don't go out every day and check out. the
Well, they're
audit-
mailed
audit
to us
programs.
because they have to be mailed, we have housing under DPCD.
Right.
So they get mailed to
State
Maxine.
directly.
That this is what for the SHI numbers. It was a list of all that's included with all the addresses and everybody who's included on that list. So we have to, that's the official list that we get. Now, if there's other lists out there, there's other data out there that's not being mailed to us or being mailed to other departments, we don't know about. But as far as I know, we're still at 11.8%.
Okay. If we could, maybe the next meeting, the 29th, if we can just get some clarification on that, even if we have to reach out to the assessors or even to
They don't
Jamie
know.
directly.
They don't-
The
they don't
assessors
know.
won't know. Okay.
I think Brian, like,
Cool.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I guess related to that, will we receive data on housing sizes? You know, is it just gonna be like single family versus multifamily, or are we actually gonna be able to see
You mean by square footage?
a square footage of
Units.
home? Yeah.
Units.
How deep are you digging on that, Jill? Or
No, I don't think we're providing square footage of
Oh,
homes.
okay.
Units.
Yeah, it'll be by units. Typically, it's by units.
Okay.
That's an average number.
Probably won't even be by bedrooms.
No, not by bedrooms, no.
Just by units.
Mhm.
That's
Are we
a lot- that's a
allowed
lot-
to-
That's a lot of information.
We need a whole new study to.
Yeah.
No, it shouldn't.
Assessor's office
This
should
is in
have
the
that.
assessor's office.
They don't have it, they just don't have that.
I've been asking
They don't
5
have
years
senior
for the
housing, they
numbers.
don't have duplexes, they don't have triplexes, they
don't
don't,
break
they
it
don't
out.
have any of that.
They should have square footage of built.
It's,
They got a rough idea what the square
That's-
footage is of a building, but,
That's-
you know,
yeah.
they don't know what's allocated for each section.
I
yeah.
guess what the point I'm getting at is if it is the 11.8, or if it is the 10.8,
Mm-hmm.
whatever we're talking, and the 20 census was up at a full 12,
Mm-hmm.
at the rate we're going, how long, I mean, it's only a couple of years away, we're gonna be below 10%. If the numbers are dwindling down slowly.
Yeah,
But-
I don't
but-
want, sorry, I just don't want to confuse two things. Yes, I think it's important to ensure that we know our affordable housing relative to 40B. I also think that we have housing needs beyond just meeting our 40B requirements, which is offering different types of housing options for different people, and it would be nice to have that data. I just don't know, do we have the ability to ask for certain data? Because again, I think the data exists, it's just a matter of like aggregating it in a way that's useful to us. And that seems like something that we would ask Barrett or Beta to do.
Well, DPCD has put together estimates of, we've gotten data from assessors of like how many units we have, because you go off total units to get your percentage. And then we projected of projects that are currently being built and projects that have been approved and not built. And we've put together, as our department, our numbers. And we were pretty close to what the SHI came about in the last memo. But that's, I mean, we, as a department, we have some of that information, because, you know, the state doesn't know what's coming in or what's going to be built at the time.
Yeah. The 40B question aside, my question, size of housing units.
How many square feet?
Square footage of housing units, regardless of affordability. Is that something that could be aggregated and presented?
You can go online and get that.
What's the use of that?
No,
I
you
guess
put in lot size,
yeah, that's-
you can click on
What-
it, and it'll
The
say all the
use of
houses that are
that
1,000 square feet.
Is
2,000
lowercase
square feet.
a affordable housing is dictated in part by size of unit. And so if we only have, you know, very large single-family homes, that's the difference between a very large single-family home and a small single-family home, right? Like being able to differentiate that is important to understanding our lowercase a affordable housing needs, right? Are there options for you know, young families getting started, for elders looking to downsize who don't need the same square footage? This is a question that gets thrown around a bunch, and it seems like a master plan is a great time to actually put to aggregate some of that data.
Yeah. I guess I'm confused by one thing, Kobe. The square footage doesn't necessarily dictate the valuation. I can have a 1,500 square foot house with a relatively high valuation based on location, based on a whole variety of different data that would make that smaller footprint worth more based on a whole variety of other factors. So it's kind of a hard thing to look at the footprint and the square footage and determine the valuation of a house based off of that. That's a lot of data to gather.
Yeah, I guess I care less about the valuation of the home and more about the diversity of housing options.
The town has done a housing production plan, correct, in
Yes.
2022?
Correct.
Yep.
Would that be something that might be in there?
No, what we do is we differentiate multifamily, single family, duplex, triplex, you know, multifamily, all very helpful. It would be even more helpful to know size of units and where we have certain sizes of units and how that's changed over time and whatnot.
Gina?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think the American Community Survey has some of that data. It's based on a sample size, and so it's an estimate, but usually it's, you know, pretty close to what exists. And secondly, I think there was some concern about dropping below 10%. The calculation for SHI is based on a denominator that the 2020 figures for housing units in Franklin and statewide just went into effect this year in 2023. So that denominator remains the same until approximately 2033. We can add more affordable housing, the denominator stays the same. So if we build 1,000 units of market rate housing, it doesn't go on into that figure until 2033, after the next census.
So we could be well below the 10% in 10 years.
We could be, but it would still count as being above. But that brings up the issue of
Well,
lowercase affordable versus technically affordable.
right, and one of the discussions, and I'll chime in on this one, during EDC last week, was talking about incorporating 40R
Right.
into our process, and as part of that 40R process, we would require equal to
25%.
or greater than 25% of the units to be affordable
It's
housing.
like a 40B, but only it's 40 hours. It's a little bit different, and I've been told by experts in the field,
Yeah,
and I mean, Gino's considered an expert in my opinion, but I was told that you need to get a developer to come in to showcase a lot, or a piece of property that he wants to do, and then work with him to get that done under a 40R. The town just can't go out and say, hey, look at, we're gonna sell this and we're gonna designate this as a 40R.
no, but we can definitely put in
Well, we
overlay
can
zoning
adopt,
and
the state's
require,
got the
and
regulation
not
already.
necessarily require, but at least allow the option for that.
The state has the regulation already, the Franklin just has to adopt it, but I
Yeah,
was told.
we discussed that in the
you take
last
you don't-
EDC
you
meeting.
don't- it doesn't need the town to designate an area where you wanna do it.
Right.
If you have the 40R available, the developers will come in and then they'll make a proposal to you. If you're good with it, you'll let it go. Cause it brings money in for the town for every unit. It's almost,
And it has some flexibility too.
yeah, but but it's just, you're just not gonna pick a spot and say, hey, we're gonna open this up for 40R.
We look forward to discussing at the housing subcommittee meeting.
Okay. All right,
I
Yes.
had I had two quick things that I thought of, just questions to check if they're in the existing conditions report. Demographic data
Yes.
and parking statistics and benchmarking with other towns.
There is a parking section. We haven't benchmarked it with other towns, though. We can, I guess, talk about what we're looking for specifically, maybe later.
Okay.
Ken, I didn't give you an opportunity to ask any questions. Do you have any questions in regards to the presentation, or any direct questions for Bader and Barrett while we have them?
Not right now, thank you.
Okay.
Jen is on.
I'm sorry?
Jen.
Oh, Jen's on? Jen, welcome.
Hi, thank you. I didn't see the presentation because I was on an airplane, but I am listening and I don't have any immediate questions.
Okay,
Okay.
understood.
I'm driving now, so I'm here now.
Okay, thanks for joining in.
Thanks.
So I just have a couple quick questions before I throw it back to you, Amy. One is, will we be able to get at least the slides from this presentation posted on the Google Drive, and maybe give everyone a link so that they can view the slides, at least in some anticipation to the document that we're going to receive next week? I am definitely looking forward to reading the whole document. The other thing, and Eric, you took my question about the indigenous people. Thank you for touching on that. what's the other one we had? The goal was to take the December 13th meeting, the whole meeting, and dedicate towards feedback in regards to this document. So, do we have the option between now and the 13th to kind of give feedback directly to you guys in regards to this, or do we have to wait until the full meeting? In other words, can we, if anyone has any specific questions in regards to a certain part or chapter or data or whatever that may be in the document, can we get feedback? And unfortunately, it can't be as a dialogue between us, but can we get feedback from each, either through chair of each subcommittee or through any one specific person?
Yeah, I think that probably be the best way. If the chair wants to gather a list of questions and forward it to me, I can get them off to Barrett and Beta, and so that they're kind of prepared to put together a summary of answers to those questions.
Okay.
So I guess it'd be great if subcommittees can try to plan a meeting between now and December 13th. And maybe focus on this document to put together the list of questions.
Mr. Chair, if I can
Yes.
make a comment.
Go ahead.
Thank you. And what we like to do, just to keep things organized and to make sure that people's comments are acknowledged, and that if there's repetitive ones, that we don't have to acknowledge them multiple times. It can just be noted that it was acknowledged. Was when we send the document to the town staff, to Amy and Brian, we will include some instructions as well as a Word document that we call a comment review matrix. And it's organized in terms of saying if the comment is related to a correction or an omission or something that was factually inaccurate, and then gives an opportunity for you to say the comment and then give your data source if it's a a correction, or put your initials as to who it is. And then on the right side of that, then when we go through it, we compile them and we kind of organize them by chapter. And, then we work on acknowledging the comments, making the corrections and updates as needed, or edits, and then we mark where we have acknowledged and what's been changed. Either it's been changed, it's been partially changed, or it's been rejected. If it's not something that, if it was just a comment, not something constructive with a data source, so to say. We kind of need to keep it organized, otherwise there's too many moving parts, and we can't really let you know like what's been acknowledged where.
Okay, understood. That's logical. All right, Kobe? Just a few more questions.
Is ask for more an eligible comment? Like, can you, especially if it comes with a data source, an eligible data source, could we say like, hey, we'd love more data on this, here's a data source?
Yes, I'll say that's an eligible comment. And if we can, make it happen, yes. Otherwise, we'll, reply in terms of that's out of the scope, or that we think that's a great idea, but that would be an additional study or something like that. But you can put that down.
And then, what happens? So we're providing comments. We're bringing them to you on December 15th, 13th. What happens from there? Like, what is? Are we telling you to revise this? Is that one round of revisions? Are we taking this and saying, hey, here's a whole bunch else that we'd like to look into further?
It's typically one round of revisions, even though these are, living documents. And as Jeff said, this is, we don't consider this to be the most important part, but it's the foundation from which things will then lend themselves to seeing more clearly the opportunities and the key issues. So one round of revisions is what we typically do.
So after December 13th, a month later, we'll get the same document back, but making revisions based on the comments that you received.
Yes, with the yes. Mm-hmm.
With the revisions.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Aaron?
Yeah,
You're
to the chair, to that point, if it'd be good to have acknowledgement on questions that we put forth, whether it could be addressed or not. Typically you have some sort of a change log. This was adopted, this wasn't adopted for X, Y, and Z reasons. That way it's very transparent about what could be done and what couldn't be done and why it might not be able to be done, and that would be helpful as well.
Sounded like that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. Any further questions from the committee? I want to give Jen any feedback. Jen, and I apologize that you missed the slides, but I am going to see what I can do to get those posted to Google Drive so that you'll have an opportunity, as well as Ken, to view those remotely, and everyone on the committee will have another chance to review them as well. And we look forward to the full document. And I hate to be a pest, but how soon are you thinking? Tuesday, Wednesday? The only reason.
Yes, in that range. Tuesday, Wednesday sounds great.
Okay, simply because as we get closer and closer to Thanksgiving and the holidays, we're going to have some difficulty ourselves setting aside time to put the subcommittees together so that we can get the questions generated that we need to generate in order to address this on the 13th of December.
No,
So-
I understand, and we really appreciate the
Mhm.
enthusiasm, and we appreciate you just, expressing your desire to get this as soon as possible.
Yep.
So we'll make it happen.
Thank you, guys. No, I appreciate that. Any further comments or questions? Amy?
All set.
All right.
Thank you.
Jill, Jeff, and I'm sorry, who else was on with us tonight? Lily, thank you for your time tonight. We appreciate the presentation, taking your time out and giving us some feedback as to what our questions, as well as giving us some insight as to what the document, we look forward to the document sometime next week. Just as a reminder to the committee, as Amy pointed out, pay close attention to your emails within Tuesday, Wednesday area, and we will have time to review these documents and get back some feedback in December. Thank you very much, Bader and Bad, for coming out tonight.
You bet. Thank you for having
Yeah,
us.
you guys
Thank
can
you.
go eat your dinners.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Appreciate it. All right. Before I move on to talking about the survey, I have a couple of quick things that I have to touch base on. One of which is, Amy, I added in a whole bunch of photos that Paul sent over into the Google Drive. I don't know if you had a chance to to look
I
at
haven't
them.
I haven't
Okay.
looked at them yet, but
Um,
that's awesome to hear.
And
Good
yep,
news.
he was kind enough to, and I posted
Great.
those on the drive. Just as a reminder to the committee, we are still looking for photos to be put into the Google Drive to add into the document at some point. You know, storefronts, people walking, biking, train parking, et cetera, Harvest Festival, which we have already, touch a truck, anything like that that anyone feels like making any personal contributions to. We're still looking for that. And Amy, just a quick thing in regards to the subcommittees, we've been having some ongoing technical issues with the Zoom links. And, you want to talk about the issues you had with your meeting? You had 4 links or something like that?
I think what had happened at our last meeting was I had an old agenda that said we'd be live on Franklin TV, and I know the subcommittee meetings aren't. So then I took one that had been edited that was from the Community Services and Facilities Subcommittee, and I put our agenda in that, and I don't know whether one old link, like it says, click here for the link, and then it says, then there's like the whole Zoom link, and then it says, or you can call in with this meeting number, and I think all 3 of them were different. So that was where people got hung up in trying to meet.
There's a couple options. So when I've been struggling too because I get the agendas and some of the dates are wrong, and or they're right in one spot, wrong in the other spot. They say Franklin TV and Franklin TV's not there. If you can always add your Zoom link meeting because you have the login and you can create the meeting and you can put it on your agenda prior to sending to me. Or I've also now had my another person in our department double checking the links. So that's my other option that I started to install. So those are basically the options that it gets. We have several Zoom accounts that it gets confusing.
Is it an option for the, heads of the subcommittees to send you like date, time, agenda, but not paste it into the document so that, if you're uploading, putting it in, that we're not missing formatting something within the page and that ends up, kind of creating, I think, kind of like a backlog, right? Like that's how the links end up different in different places. It was me that was trying to get in last week. It was like the one in the email attachment had different links than the one that was online and everything.
I was even trying to get in. I was logged in as Amy, and it was saying, I was one link, and then I tried another one, and it was saying, the host hasn't started. I am the host. So it was a multi-link thing going on.
The agenda is already set when sent to me, but if you can't put the link in, we can do the link.
Okay.
All right.
Either that or get different links for every subcommittee.
Well,
They are.
what's
There are different links for every single meeting. Like even this meeting, We don't save the same link.
You don't
Okay,
say.
because
No,
No,
we don't.
yeah, the
We
meeting
create
link
new
is different.
meetings for every
Single
Every meeting night,
single meeting.
every meeting date.
Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
Okay.
yep.
Because we were
Planning.
using, the ZBA was using somebody else's link, and it didn't work out. So finally, I mentioned to Gus, and Gus ended us getting us our own link. Now, I don't know if that
Well,
changes
we
from
we
time to
have our
time.
own accounts.
Accounts,
You got your own account.
Okay,
He
yeah.
probably gave you your own account, but
That's what
yeah,
they need.
we have our own accounts, but
Well, an
we,
account that he had to pay for, he put it on his
yeah,
credit card.
yeah, we, I
okay.
do too.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing. And, but we changed the link because we don't want it to be compromised.
No,
So
understood.
every meeting and every subcommittee meeting has a new link.
Okay.
All right, so the only thing I ask of the subcommittee chairs is to just check any information that's posted on an agenda prior to it being sent out, just to be scrutinized, just so we can avoid having these continued technical problems with the Zoom links. The only other thing I ask too, on behalf of the chairs of the subcommittees, is to please be certain to post an agenda at least 48 hours prior to Amy, and that's 72.
Well, that's to get it to me. I
70
have to post
72
48.
hours prior, because
Prior.
in order for us to go live on any of our subcommittees, we need to have that agenda made public within 48 hours, and Amy preference for 72 hours prior to those meetings. That's just legalese that we need to follow in order to keep things on the up and up. Let's try to stay up in those agendas. If anyone's having any problems, please by all means reach out to me or Amy or both, or Brian, and we can do what we can do to try to help mitigate any future problems.
I found out some information for you in case anybody was wondering what an affordable house is or what they consider an affordable house.
Okay.
There's 10 houses listed in Franklin on MLS. The cheapest house is $475, which has dropped over the last month and a half about 100,000. So you can probably guess what kind of house it is. That one's around 475,000. And there's another one at
What's
538.
its square
There's another
footage?
one at, and there's another one at 575.
What's
And
the
those houses are between 13 and 1,500 square feet.
It's about the size of my house.
Yeah. So there you go. You can go list it next week and be all set.
Yeah, well, ironically, Joe, and Bruce, the house at the corner of my neighborhood, right at the corner of School Street, which is basically a postage stamp of a yard, it's not really that big, sold, which was Dave's old house, the blue house at the corner, sold for $500,000.
Yeah.
And it's one of the, it looks exactly like my house,
Yeah.
1,500 square feet,
Well,
basement,
that's like the
side yard.
bottom layer, you know, price-wise in Franklin.
Yeah, it's
And
extraordinary how much
There's
it
only one
costs.
below 500,
Housing's gone up.
but it's been on the market 56 days, so.
All right, so moving on to our next agenda item, we've already had various opportunities to give any feedback in regards to the survey. Amy, you want to talk about finalizing the survey?
Yeah, so I incorporated all the comments I can. I know there were a couple of questions the Sustainability Committee was going to edit. They had some recommendations. I was looking for final wordage on it that, I don't think it ended up getting updated, which is fine. Be nice to be able to get this out the door. Especially, it's tough because we're hitting the holiday season too.
Right.
To get as much feedback as we can. I don't know if anybody had any more edits or corrections or anything they wanted to add to it.
Okay, I'll throw it around the room once, but I think ideally what I'd like to do tonight is get a vote to try to move the survey forward so that we can kind of get that out as soon as possible. Any questions? I'll just throw it around the room.
GATRA is still all caps.
What?
GATRA is all caps still.
Okay. Good.
Motion to
That's good to
approve.
know.
It's gonna
I
have to
will-
be roll call because Mel's
I
got
will
the-
correct that.
We have people who are remote.
Oh, that's, the
Jen or Ken, do you guys have any specific questions in regards to the survey before we move on adopting it?
No.
I didn't hear Jen.
she says a no.
Oh, okay. Anyone else? All right, I think we're good to move forward with the survey.
There's a motion
Motion approved.
and a second.
That's right.
Second,
All right, that's the one.
a
Clerk,
roll
wanna
call
take a Roll
vote.
call, please.
Roll call. I will take
Ma'am?
the roll. Roll call vote to approve the survey, so we can get that out. Let's go Bruce Hunchard.
Distribute. Yes, distribute the survey as. presented.
Distribute the survey as presented. And Meg is not here, is that correct? She didn't come in, right? Okay, absent. Gino,
Yes.
Rick,
Yes.
Janelle,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Jen,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Erin,
Yes.
clerk, yes, vice chair,
Yes.
chair.
Yes,
Okay.
so we got Ken and Jen, right? Good.
Oh, Ken's not on there.
Yeah, Ken's on there.
No, he's not on the list.
Oh.
Sorry, Ken.
Jen.
Ken?
Yes.
He's not on our list. We almost got everybody on the list.
All right,
Okay.
We'll update that. All right, thanks, Ken, thanks, Jen. We appreciate your voting on that.
12
All
to,
right.
12 yes,
Then
1 absent.
Thank you.
Absent.
Thank you, clerk, appreciate that. All right. So I think you just left for a minute. So, just by way of explanation on our dates, while Amy stepped out for a second, our next full master plan committee meeting is November 29th. And then after that, our following meeting is December 13th. On the December 13th agenda, the hope, and Amy, just by way of explanation, what I was talking about was the December 13th meeting. We may or may not have dates from the full council to have chosen dates for 2024. And we're kind of in limbo until we kind of figure out what the full council decides on town council meetings, so that we can ultimately set meeting dates for this committee, because we're off week to the council. So typically, we had council last weekend, we have council next week. We try to do these meetings on off Wednesdays so that we have full use of the space and we don't conflict with the council meetings. So as soon as the town council gets a full calendar, I do believe we typically do that either this first or second meeting of December. Our first meeting is the 15th.
Yeah, he said he wants to get it done by on the
He did.
15th.
Okay. So hopefully we'll have dates. Unfortunately, it won't be before the 13th, but we won't be able to vote on the dates. So do we want to pick a January date for a master plan meeting now and just kind of approve it so we have it on the calendar to?
The council's gonna meet before the
We're not,
13th.
we don't have a,
The council's gonna meet before the 13th, and they're probably gonna have the votes then.
well, the first official town council meeting is the 15th.
Of December?
November, of
Oh,
November.
what am I thinking? Sorry, you can see I'm tired.
Anyway, Kobe, you was our vote getter, right? Congratulations.
Thank you.
New chair?
So anyways, we'll try to get those dates set up so that we have something to talk about on the 13th in regards to setting the meetings for next year. Amy, do we need to set those any sooner than December 13th? 13th will be fine with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Other than that, let's see what else we have on the list.
Story map.
Yep, tabling and outreach for survey, we already talked about the survey. Maybe, did you want to touch base on that, what that, the tabling and outreach of survey for, what do you mean by that?
The committee talked about like trying to do like tabling at the senior center for
Oh.
a few hours, or the library for a few
I gotcha.
hours. I don't know if there's a schedule or what availability is. It's something they could kind of do on their own once we get this survey out. Just an idea. I know that the committee had talked about it at the last meeting,
Mhm.
so that's why I put it on here.
No, I understand. Does anybody have any desire, Kobe? I thought you were raising your hand. Okay. Anybody have any desire to maybe have their subcommittees reach out.
Sorry. Not tabling, but was wondering about what kind of like print materials or poster materials would be printed, what those would look like, and when that would be available to connect to the survey.
So, well, the printed survey will look, we're gonna do this on Google Forms. The committee decided they want it in Google Forms, so we will
Right.
get that out on social media and as well as the website and all that. Hard copies will be available at the senior center, the library. I can probably also do Park and Rec, as well. So that would go out that way. Other
mean-
than that, whatever ideas that the committee wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking like big poster board in the entrance to the library and, you know,
Town hall.
town hall. Little ones that we can put on the entrances to the playgrounds would be great. I mean, you know,
With-
stuff like
with
that.
the QR
That
the
like
QR
is
code,
like,
right,
yeah, that
that's
has
what
the
it is.
QR, that
With that Fort
are
Franklin logo
vibrant
right
and
there.
has the logo and is a call to action to the community to participate, that, you know, if there's an incentive, that there's an incentive. But like, you know,
Do you
not
wanna-
something that they're gonna have to go and ask
Right.
for at the library desk, but like.
So,
they can-
so would someone like to design that poster and then our department can take care of, getting it out, getting it on boards and putting them up?
Okay, is there any kind of like budgetary restriction on what you can print?
There is no budget.
I'm asking because like, for instance, I know for the open space survey, they had like postcard size printouts that were at the rec department and other locations in town, like, are we able to print stuff like that?
Yeah, it would've been good if we knew what the budget was to begin with and how much.
So,
we
okay,
paid
open
to-
space is different because they have their own budget. They have a wetlands fund for conservation. Where this just comes out of DPCD budget. So do we have some printing money? We do have printing money. You
Okay.
know, so we could get cards. I guess
Right.
if you guys want to put together a list of what type of promotional stuff,
Yeah, I mean, I would-
even large posters, DPW has a large printing machine.
Yeah, I mean,
They
I
could,
would
they could print
prioritize
it
the
for
big
us as
posters
well.
over the
We
small
have
stuff.
boards in our office that we can put them on.
Yep.
So like
Okay.
there is a way that we can work this out. Yes,
Okay.
there is.
Well,
So-
that also leads me to one question. Pete, if you can you hear me?
Yep.
Could you put together a slide with the QR code on Franklin TV as part of one of your ongoing revolving slides that you have?
Yes, we can.
Thank you.
Yeah, boy, Pete.
So that's one
Yeah,
option too.
so if
Okay.
If it's on TV, they can
Yep.
scan it on the TV. as
Yep.
well.
if you guys want to put it together, yes, we
Okay.
can make it work.
Yeah, cause, and
Okay.
I would prioritize the big signs or the, you know, smaller ones for outdoor locations or something over the printed cards, but was just wondering what options we had.
Sure.
Okay.
So we've got options. Sounds like some good options too.
Potentially.
I do think we should, it sounds like you're volunteering to design those, but
She's got a lot on her plate.
regardless
Uh-huh.
of who ends up, although
I
we should.
did not say that,
solidify-
but-
That's true. Once we decide who, bring them to the downtown partnership, a lot of businesses might take them, put them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if they're in 8.5 by 11 format, they don't have to be fancy.
Yeah,
Yep.
Just something they can put in their window.
People post them. I posted the OSRP
Yeah.
one.
Mhm.
I don't think we should leave without knowing whose responsibility or who's taking the first step.
The largest vote getter.
Yeah, the highest vote getter.
And the whole town's dependent on right there.
You wanna be chair, you gotta step up.
I don't think it was through graphic design.
Does anybody feel like taking on the responsibility of coming up with the design?
When do we want it done by?
Well, I gotta get the survey in Google Forms first, and then create the QR code. But I mean, you could
Yeah.
work on it, just leave space for the QR code because I'm not
Right.
gonna have that till next week.
Well, I
So,
mean,
I mean, within a week or two. I mean, we
Yeah.
can still get the survey out without the posters completely being done. Like that can promote it even after we get it out.
I
or
could always
around
try to
sometime.
first shot at it and then send it to Erin so she could check it. Like we've done that on a couple things. Do you want me to,
Yeah,
you want me to
okay.
start with it and then you can edit it, or is that okay? Or
Yeah.
do I send it, I'll send it to Kobe.
That's fine. Yeah.
Send it through it, yeah.
Okay.
How's the Franklin Children's Museum?
I think
Yeah,
that's probably
that's
the way
fine.
I'll get it
Mel,
done.
that works. That's
Is
fine.
that okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, I'll start on it.
Okay. And just leave a spot for the QR code if you get ahead
Yeah.
of me.
That's all.
And
Okay,
then-
we always,
and-
you can add anything, that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Well, you can, and I do have to stress that
Canva, right?
it doesn't, since it's really,
You can do Canva, yeah.
That's great.
since it's really just a poster with a few words, that with the QR code's gonna take you to everything else, it
Yeah.
doesn't really need to be elaborate.
Right.
It's just simply going to be our
You just
Fort
need to
Franklin
put it,
QR code, survey, blah, 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 and people can scan it and go right to the
Let me
information.
just get this, we're gonna put this on the internet so people can.
It can go
From
anywhere.
Franklin, Tennessee, we'll be answering all the questions here.
There,
but, okay, so can I just like get some clarification though, there's still 2 gift cards,
yes.
Yes.
and, we're gonna, to
Okay.
get people to take the survey, they're gonna they can go into a raffle
Yep.
to win either one of them,
I
or do we
think,
wanna do one
I-
this time as well?
I
We'll have
think.
2 winners.
We
Two
have,
winners?
yeah, we got 2 winners, we got two
We
cards.
have 2,
winners.
okay.
I was, well, what I was thinking about those, and I don't know if everyone agrees or disagrees, is that if we have events either at the library or the senior center or wherever to kind of promote this, we can use it as an incentive then. It's like, hey, if you know, take our survey today, you have the chance of,
I
Be
feel
the-
a little
be-
presumptuous that you're going to the senior center to ask people to decide what Franklin's gonna look like 20 years.
who better than those who've been here? Kobe?
I do think this will be easiest if the survey ends with, are you interested in being entered
Yeah.
into the
Yes.
survey? If so,
Optional.
please provide your email.
Into the raffle.
Yeah.
Into the
Mhm.
raffle.
Move
If-
that to the end. Got it.
Yeah.
All right,
And then the poster might just say optional raffle for prizes.
Right, win a prize.
Yeah,
But then you don't have to worry about when they took the survey or where they,
or who's taking it, or
Or
what the
what they're,
demographics is.
and it doesn't have to be, a detail about what the prize is, it's just like there's a gift card raffle. Or enter to
Just-
win.
And
win
put a
gift-
value
Intend
on it,
to
like
win
otherwise
one
they'll
of 2
think
gift
they're gonna
cards.
get like,
I'm sorry?
$100, yeah.
They're
you should put
$100
them with the
gift
value.
cards.
I didn't say that.
2.
Yeah, all right, I got it.
All right, yeah.
Cool.
Glenn,
The
how
rea-
many,
the
how
reason
many
for-
posters will there be?
How many posters will there be? Oh,
as many as they can print.
How many do we want?
I don't think like high traffic areas, like maybe one at the YMCA, maybe at the entrances to restaurants,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
everybody's got their phone out,
Yeah.
in the QR at restaurants, and they're bored, they're reading things at the
Absolutely.
table, waiting.
All the coffee shops.
the only
Yeah.
the only
Right.
problem I find with the big Y is we get a lot of people from Rentham and in that area coming over here.
Well, that's what I'm getting about. If
okay.
it's on the internet, you're
Yeah,
gonna get them from all over.
that's true.
All right,
All right,
okay, so is
so-
that okay, Colby? Get that nailed down?
Oh, yes,
Okay.
I'm not sure
All right.
yet.
Mel, one of the initial, I just went back in my Canva, one of the initial graphics that we put together was poster size
Yeah.
and has the font on it. So like, I actually think it's just like a quick update.
Just slice.
Yeah, it's gonna be, yeah,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
problem.
All
Okay.
right, so you can do it then. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'll take a crack at it and then you can fix it.
And I wanna thank you guys for taking on this extra work. It's really, means a lot to me. It means a lot to the committee.
It's like fun. I like this.
It is.
This kind of stuff is fun for me.
Jen or Ken, do you have any comments in regards to the outreach and the tabling or anything we've just been talking about here? I don't wanna ignore you folks.
No, I think it all sounds good.
Good. All right, that leaves us with one more topic on our agenda, and that was the story map ideas. Amy?
Yeah, this is something we actually just started discussing last meeting. If we want to put together a story map, I know we have a lot on our plate right now, though, trying to get the survey out and also coming in with the inventory assessment. I mean, it's something we could table till the new year if we'd like to. Might be a little bit easier after we get through these few things and then we wait on Beta and Barrett while they're doing their next steps of the project. But it's something, what I was hoping is that the subcommittees would kind of put together their ideas of what they would each kind of like to see within the story maps, and then we would put it together within our department.
Okay.
But it's up to the subcommittee if they're gonna have time, really,
No,
in
we-
the next couple
We can,
months.
we can push that to the chairs of each subcommittee to review that. Kobe, you have a question?
Yeah, I guess I would just say that it's not too much to like send you a blurb for you to put in, but I do think that a story map would be most useful as a understanding of the results of the master plan than as a tool to get someone engaged with the master plan process. That's my, and, you know, so I, in a way of like, I wouldn't put too much effort into story map as an advertisement, right? If we wanna make it all nice, like, if you're really gonna put a lot, if it's just like a click through with a little blurb of each, okay, that doesn't take long. But if you like wanna make it highly engaging, that just doesn't seem like effort that's worth spending ahead of, you know, actually engaging with data.
And everything else we have to get done.
That's true.
Yeah, in light of other things.
Yeah, and it's definitely something we can move, even if we had to move it till the January meetings.
Okay.
to talk
Yeah,
about.
yeah, we can postpone it if the
Yeah.
committee would like to do so. It was
Yeah.
something that had come up. I kept it on the agenda, but we could definitely postpone it to a later date to discuss further.
Cool. All right, that's everything on our agenda. Amy, anything last to say?
No, I think
Think things are good?
it's
All right.
good. I'm here. Any questions, reach out, please. Let me know if anybody needs anything or looking for
Happy
information.
holidays, happy Thanksgiving to everybody, because we won't see each other until after Thanksgiving. I have my 35th reunion on the Friday after Thanksgiving, that should be interesting. So, other than that, we have nothing left on the agenda, so motion, anyone got a motion to adjourn? I'll take one.
Second,
Roll call.
non-debatable.
Non-
Roll call vote, motion to adjourn. Ken?
Yes.
He's like, whoa. Bruce?
Yes.
Meg is absent. Gino?
Yes.
Rick?
Yes.
Janelle?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Erin?
Yes.
Clerk, yes. Vice Chair?
Yes.
Chair?
Yes,
Sounds like it passed.
awesome.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Hi.
Click.